All right. Welcome back, my regular viewers, listeners, and watchers. And of course, if you happen to be here for the very first time, welcome. Before I go any further, my name is Rahul George, India's premier iHypnosis coach and your personal guide. And this goes without saying, but welcome to the eighth episode of the iHypnosis coaching journeys. Now, today I have with me a truly remarkable and amazing human being, and her name is Shabeena. For those of you who've been watching the promotions, you know that I'm talking about Shabeena. And some of you may already know her. Maybe you've been part of communities where you've met Shabeena, and so Shabeena, this is of course your cue. I am truly, blessed to have. First, of course, I heard her name a couple of years ago. This was way back. Shabeena, you probably don't know this, but this was way back. I'm literally getting chills as I'm saying this. This was way back in 2020. I was part of this group called the MMMC, which was Kartika's group that she was running. And this is, of course, during COVID. That's when I heard your name first. And then, of course, in 2021, and of course, in 2022, I heard your name a couple of times. And I think we've probably, crossed paths on Facebook. I had seen some of your posts. And that was how we started to connect. And you probably might remember that you had attended one was of course the TTT, that's the train the trainer run by Success Gyan, and the second time was of course when you attended the MTS, which is Making the Stage, again run by Success Gyan. And these are programs that definitely have made an impact in my own life, especially in the last couple of years. And seeing the courage that you showed, not only for yourself but as a indicator that literally anything is possible, and to use your slogan, I am possible. So with that, of course, I will continue the story as we go further into today's podcast. And with this, want to welcome you, Shabeena. Thank you for firstly saying yes to the podcast. Like I said, we've never really met before. We've never met in the physical world. We've only met virtually a couple of times. So something obviously made you say yes. So thank you. And I'd love for you to share with the audience. Like I said, some people probably may already know you. They've met you in different communities, both virtual and real. So I definitely look forward to hearing more about your story. So welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, actually. It's my honor.
Amazing. So, you know, typically this is the part where I ask my guests to share a little bit about, like who you are, what you do today. And of course, as you're doing that, you're welcome to kind of reflect back on how you got to be here. So maybe initially just a little bit about, who you are and what you do today. And, you know, um, basically, yeah, the second part is, of course, what brought you here.
Yeah. So, as you said, my name is Shabeena. Uh, as I reflect on my life, my life actually has two parts, as I say. I always say there was a
Yes.
Shabeena before 2020, and there was a Shabeena after
Wow.
2020. So that was my perception about myself and about my life, and that's where
Right.
everything shifted for me, and that's where that I am
Wow.
possible came in. Actually,
Yes.
uh, I've told you, like, I have a physical condition which was actually limiting my life. So
Yes.
I used to always say, like, I'm living an impossible life. How do a person live without being able to move for the daily activities that I
Mm.
need to do?
Right.
And I believe that my creator has created me for a purpose, what my purpose is, and then
Hmm.
enact it here before I leave
Right.
this world.
Wow.
So I felt, even I was bedridden, more than the physical pain,
Hmm.
this mental pain was, this mental agony was actually annoying me. Like, I haven't figured out what my purpose of life is. And if I
Right.
leave this earth without, fulfilling that purpose, that would be the biggest disgrace that I'm doing to the creator. So this was my pain
Wow.
always, and I was trying to figure out. And my none of my prayers were like, Lord, heal
Hmm.
me, nothing like that. Just show me what I'm supposed to
Right.
do
Wow.
in this physical condition. How am I supposed to do it? I know you've created me for a purpose. So that
Hmm.
was my only question to the my conversation to the divine was that. And then I
Hmm.
still remember in 2020, February. So that time
Hmm.
I was again on the bed. For me, I had difficulties
Right.
even holding my phone.
Hmm.
So sitting was also a challenge for me. So I used to have my meals part by part. Like, as much as I
Wow.
can sit and eat it, I will sit and then I lie down.
Wow.
So that was how I was living that time. And one of
Wow.
my friends, she gave me a call and she told me to try Ho'oponopono. And I didn't know what Ho'oponopono was. I
Hmm.
didn't know anything about personal development or any of these,
Right.
alternative modalities that now I am into. So she
Yeah.
said, like, there are four statements in that. You will get to know more about it when if you go and search on YouTube. And I'm like, how
Amazing.
do you search on YouTube? I have seen YouTube. I just scroll and whatever comes, I watch it.
Right.
But I didn't know
Yes.
that I could search and find what I wanted
Wow.
to watch. So I asked her,
Wow.
how do I do that? And she said there is a small, like, lens type of button there. You click that and you
Right.
type Ho'oponopono.
Wow.
And she do it for
Hmm.
me. That's how I came across
Hmm.
Kartika Nair.
Wow.
And
Wow.
she taught 3 Ho'oponopono. And I wanted, and I started that practice as well. But what
Hmm.
what changed my life is not Ho'oponopono. At the end of
Hmm.
one of those videos, she pitched the webinar for MMMC. I totally didn't know what a webinar
Right.
was. I didn't know what was there on the plate. Nothing. She just said click on the link and register. And for me, I was looking for what I could do with my life. And I just click. I told my daughter,
Hmm.
click, type my name and email ID and all. She did it for me and registered. Now I didn't know
Wow.
what was going to happen. She said that it was going to happen on 28th of February. And that
Hmm.
was the first
Hmm.
webinar for MMMC. She was opening it
Right.
for the public for the first time.
Hmm. Right.
The next day, I got an email, and in the email, it was mentioned it would be a 2 hour webinar. That time, it didn't click. Okay, maybe she had mentioned it in the video also, like it was a
Sure.
90 minutes ka. And she said it is 90 minutes, but it might go to 2 hours. You have to bring a
Wow.
notebook, a pen, a bottle
Right.
of paper, water, etc. And I'm like, notebook, pen, I cannot write. Forget
Right.
writing. I cannot sit and watch the.
Hmm.
How I was watching the videos was, I would on the video, keep the phone
Right.
on the bed, and I would just listen. I'm not watching because
Wow.
holding was not possible.
Hmm.
So that's how I listened to the Ho'oponopono videos. For me, it was a podcast actually, not a video. And then I'm like, okay, I need to attend this webinar. Maybe
Right.
the webinars, right? They tell all the things that you're going to get. So I'm like, okay, maybe
Hmm.
this is where I'm going to figure out what I can do. I was trying to
Hmm.
find out what I can do with my life,
Right.
because sitting, standing, walking, etc. were out of scope.
Hmm. Hmm.
And lying down, I was sick and tired of being sick and tired actually.
Yeah.
Just lie
Right.
down, and I had a pattern on my father's house ka ceiling. I would count the squares and
Wow.
lines, and that was how I passed my day.
Wow.
So then I told my father, there is something happening like this. I am
Hmm.
not sure about what it is. I want to attend it, so how will we do it?
Hmm. Hmm.
So he arranged his room, his bed,
Hmm.
his table, and everything was. I didn't have a laptop then. And I
Mm.
said, I have to watch it. So how I didn't
Right.
know about all these, phone cast stands and all,
Right.
tripod and all. I didn't know because I was
Right.
not into this field.
Correct.
I didn't even know that something called tripod existed.
Yes.
So he kept a stack of books and he held my phone in a way
Right.
that I don't have to hold
Right.
it.
Right.
And that's how I attended that podcast. I mean, that
Wow.
webinar. I did it for two and a
Right.
half hours. I mean, 2 hours.
Wow.
Sat till the end. Took a couple of notes as well. My mother
Amazing.
was like coming and shouting at me for forcing my body because it was paining
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
badly. And I was sitting like for like 3-4 minutes, then I would lie down, then I would stand up, try to stand. I have to
Hmm.
write, right?
Wow.
Because I didn't
Right.
know whether I'm going to get a
Hmm.
recording or something.
Hmm.
Everything that she was speaking there was like new to me, new
Right.
perspectives.
Right.
Somehow I attended it, and then at the end, I told my mother I'm not hungry because I couldn't force to sit and have the food. And my mother was like, "You have to pop 9 tablets, and you're telling me you're going to eat it in a hungry, empty stomach." I said, "I'm not hungry,"
Right.
because she was scolding me for forcing me to this webinar. And then
Right.
because of that, I couldn't sit and eat, and I couldn't ask her to feed me.
Hmm.
And because of the writing, my hands were also swollen. Little bit of
Hmm.
writing that I did. So I
Right.
did not take my pills that night. And you can imagine without the painkillers, how would that night have been?
Wow.
And I told my father, there is something happening on March 2nd
Hmm.
onwards. I don't know
Hmm.
how it is possible for me, but I want to give it a try. And I don't
Wow.
have my card with me because I was taken to the
Hmm.
hospital, and then from my house I was taken to the hospital, and from hospital they had taken me to my father's place. So I asked him, "Can you
Hmm.
give me your card? I want to try for 1 month, and then we
Hmm.
will see if should I continue it or not." And that was the best decision in my life. And I did it till December. Things
Wow.
started changing because my focus was
Right.
never on my body or my healing. My focus was beyond that.
Hmm.
So
Wow.
the healing was so fast.
True.
Since you were in MMMC, you would have read my success stories.
Hmm. But
On
share
the
a little bit
eighth
of those
day,
success
actually, I
stories.
manifested an outing.
Y-
It was in
Yes.
wheelchair, but for me, wheelchair was
Yes.
not also possible. It was painful. I told you it was painful to sit.
Hmm.
But then I convinced my husband, and on the eighth day, on March 2nd, we started MMMC. March 8th, on the Women's Day, he
Wow.
took me for an outing to a mall with the wheelchair. It was
Wow.
painful. It was
Yes.
really
Yes.
painful, but then it was worth that 2 hours was worth it.
Yeah.
That was my
Amazing.
biggest
Amazing.
thing. From there, I never
Amazing.
looked back. I
Hmm.
started, I also heard a little boy, I think his name was Nihal or something, who was
Hmm.
having muscular dystrophy or something like that. So
Hmm.
his bones were
Hmm.
fragile, I feel. So he said
Hmm.
he doesn't look impossible as impossible. He look it as I am possible. And that was where like, oh my
Hmm.
gosh, I was been using this term impossible, impossible. I need to change my vocabulary. Just one
Beautiful.
degree shift, one apostrophe and a one small space in that
Hmm.
word would change my life. And I started,
Right.
approaching life from that perspective.
Amazing.
I've already heard someone saying me in 2017 that,
Hmm.
you have only three limitations. You can't sit,
Hmm.
stand, and move, but you have strengths which will open a whole world of possibilities to you if you focus on those
Wow.
strengths.
Right.
So that I did not understand the depth of that statement in 2017. It was only in
Right.
2020 after MMMC that I understood what he meant.
Right.
And then I only started looking at my possibilities.
Amazing.
My thing was, how can I make things possible?
Hmm.
It's
Wow.
impossible, but I just look on ways how can I do it.
Hmm.
I don't want to give excuses that, okay,
Hmm.
my enemy is the excuses that we give, whatever it is. Excuses, for
So
me,
true.
it was like, it was not an excuse. My health and my body condition, it's real. But still, it's
Right.
an excuse that I was giving me for not living my life.
Wow. 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 That's so powerful. And I'm so glad that you've shared it like this because A lot of times we all have excuses, we all give ourselves excuses, and we forget, right, that some of
Yeah.
our most difficulties are actually um, our triggers to be our better selves.
Yeah.
So hearing you say this, it's I know that this is definitely also going to be of value to people who hear this, not only now but even later. Um, Something that also struck me. I'm saying this because, like I said, we met around that time. We would have been in class at the same time, but in different parts of the country. And this was, of course, during COVID times as well.
Yeah.
These classes were run at, I think, 5 in the morning. Correct?
Yeah. 5 a.m. to 6:15.
Yes.
Sometimes still 6:30 also we went.
Yeah.
You know how I
You know,
attended the classes? I would
tell
lie
me about
down,
that.
put my phone on, I would listen at 5. I made it sure that I attended it live. It was not possible
Wow.
for me to do the exercises in that 1 hour because writing and doing all I did everything
Mm,
mentally. And when the
wow.
recording was on, I would play the recording, maybe 2 minutes,
Wow.
3 minutes. I would try to write and complete the exercise. Then I would take a
Wow.
break. Then after a while, I would. So the entire day, I took the entire day to complete that 1 hour exercise. You know how little bit of
Wow.
exercise we had. But for me,
Right.
that was my physical situation. And I
Wow.
had nothing else to do other than MMC. So the entire day went in, doing the exercises
Right.
and completing the
Right.
exercises that she gave us. So by the next morning, I was ready with the entire
Wow.
tasks that we had to do. And
Amazing.
90% of the work was done mentally.
Amazing. Yeah. I'm really like taking everything that you're saying, like literally like I'm soaking in word for word, which is why I may appear a little like I'm catching up with you. Uh but truly thank you for sharing, your story. And for people who are listening, right? That was, like you said, that was the beginning. That was 2020. So either if you go in reverse order, which means what you do today in sort of like connection to what 2020 did for you, I'd love for you to share that. Or you can go in, like, in telling your story, like, so that was 2020, and then how was 2021, 22, and so on and so forth to where you are today.
Yeah. So 2021, one more thing happened. I had heard Kartika mention Siddharth Rajshekar.
Hmm.
But as I said, I was so ignorant about all these technical
Hmm.
areas. I didn't know
Right.
how to find out Siddharth. So as I
Hmm.
was scrolling Facebook once, his ad
Hmm.
popped up.
Hmm.
And I touched on that. I touched on it and then I registered for the webinar.
Hmm.
And that's how I came across Siddharth. That was in June. And I joined him in June.
Hmm.
And that was like somebody who speaks Italian was attending something in Spanish or French. I could not understand one word that Siddharth was saying because everything was technology, too much of technology. You
Hmm.
are into his community. I'll give you one example. After
Yeah.
joining,
Hmm.
uh, I had my first hackathon, first session,
Hmm.
mission one, and he
Hmm.
said, go to Google and type in your keywords and do a research, and I'm giving you 10 minutes and come back. And I didn't know what and where Google was.
Right.
I didn't know what keyword was. So I gave a call to my son. He was
Hmm.
studying in Mumbai then. So I told
Hmm.
him, I have a mentor and he's asking me to go to Google and type in my
Hmm.
keyword and do a research.
Hmm.
So what is my keyword? I don't know what my keyword is. And
Hmm.
what do you, and where do I find Google? My son said, just relax. You're not going to be able to do it in that 10 minutes. You do one thing, listen to
Hmm.
the class, write down every single word that he's telling you, whichever you don't understand.
Hmm.
Then we will have a call and then we'll,
Hmm.
do the exercise. And before
Wow.
disconnecting the call, he just told me one
Amazing.
thing. In your phone, on the screen, you have a black line on the top where you
Mm.
type things and search. That is what Google is. And
Right.
I'm like, oh,
Wow.
that I do because he had taught me searching
Correct.
on that search bar. That
Mm.
for me, that was a search bar. I didn't know it was
Mm.
Google.
Right.
That was the term that he used when he showed it to me, search
Mm.
bar.
Right. Mm.
So he said that is Google. So that is where I started. And you can imagine
Wow.
how will I understand whatever
Amazing.
Siddharth was. I took a break from
Wow.
Siddharth till still September. I tried to follow him, but it
Mm.
was beyond my capacity and my knowledge. I took a break and then I came back to him in 2022.
Wow.
2021, 2020, till 2020 June last I joined,
Correct.
2020 September I stopped because it
Mm.
was making no
Mm.
sense to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But during that, while I was attending his inner circle call once, he had
Mm.
pitched UPW of Tony Robbins, which
Mm.
Success Gyan was doing. That was how I came across
Yes.
Success Gyan. Okay,
Oh,
so
okay.
I purchased UPW, first online UPW,
Right.
and I attended it
Right.
online with
Right.
my daughter,
Mm.
and that was a game changer for me. You know how Tony Robbins is, right? So Tony Robbins and Kartika Nair actually, changed everything for
Oh,
me.
nice.
2020 was
Nice.
completely into both
Mm.
of them. And
Right.
2021, by the time I got into Success Gyan's email
Mm.
list, right? So emails started coming in,
Right.
and I got in 2021 February is where I joined their first their programs. Like there was a
Mm.
program done by Blair Singer, a trainer mastery program.
Mm.
That was the first
Right.
thing that I joined in February of
Mm.
2021.
Mm. Mm.
And in that they sold his gold membership. So
Mm.
I joined that as well. It was a high ticket
Mm.
program.
Mm.
So that was 3 months, February, March,
Mm.
April.
Mm.
And in April, I got through Success Gyan only, I got to experience Pooja Punit's one.
Mm.
That was a gift from Success Gyan, is what I feel. I did
Mm.
not purchase it,
Mm.
it was gifted by Success
Right.
Gyan through Super Speaker.
Mm.
Okay, so I joined the Super Speaker also.
Mm.
So that's how I did not go further into Pooja Punit's community. Only
Mm.
that level one
Mm.
was done, coaching mastery. So after completing coaching
Mm.
mastery, by that time itself, from Synchro Shakti community, people